Hey,
Yeah.
all right, sounds good. We started with no audio, which means the intro has no audio. We're having a good day today. So this is Studio Confessions. This is what it's
Studio
about. It's behind the
Confessions.
scenes. I don't know what was happening though, because for some reason when we were trying to go live, it was slowing down our voice, and all we did was unplug the cable that connects it to the computer, plugged it back in, and that worked. So we are here to go live, answer questions. We're going to be talking about, I guess, things going on in the studio and some stuff coming up. I don't know what's going on in the studio that you're excited about, Gabe.
There's plenty. I feel like we're always busy, either starting new things, fixing new things, fixing old things. There's always plenty to do here in the studio. But what we've recently talked about, I guess there's a slew of things. Blink twice if you are safe.
I'm not safe.
There's just a number of things. I think we can start off with talking about us in our organization. We are dialing in our organization when it comes to like the systems of how efficiently we're getting things back to clients, and then just so both me and Trevon are aware of what things are completed in a timely manner. So it's not just us texting back and forth saying, did you do this? Did you do that? And then us, and then I mean, it always gets done. It always gets done at the end of the day, but making it more efficient is definitely the end goal. And so Trevon has become a coding whiz over here and has employed Claude to help make his system. So, I mean, if you want to talk a little bit more about like kind of the end goal with that organization and what you did, go for it.
Yeah. So on the back end of things, we are leveraging Claude to basically automate some stuff in the studio. So now when you guys book, it automatically creates a project file for us and then puts it on a system so we can track everything really nice and easily, see where everybody is along the way. Like we've been doing a good job of getting everything out on time, but this allows us, we were both just barely out of town, and then it was kind of like, wait, where is everything? Yeah. So that's nice. And then actually we're redoing the website right now. I'm really happy with how that's looking. And then once that's done, next step is to get an app finally ready for the studio as well. So excited to get that going on. And then, I don't know, I think for me, it's been cool. We have new clients signing on to memberships. That's been our big goal of ours, is bringing people on with memberships where we actually employ strategy. We had a client who just recently started Rise Magazine, and they're going to be doing 8 episodes a month with us, which is going to be awesome. They're launching 2 different podcasts, one in Spanish, one not in Spanish, in English. Yeah. And their first episode was cool that they did with us. They brought in a company that they're working on closing as a client. If it closes, it's going to be a $12,000 deal, which is why she wanted to bring them on the podcast, kind of sweeten that deal. And she says things are moving pretty good. And I know we have some other people coming on right now too.
Yeah, we got quite a few. Garrett and his crew with mortgage, him being a realtor and lender kind of duo over there, him and his brother. And then we also have the men's empowerment movement thingy. What's the name of that one? I don't think has they have come up with a name yet?
Yeah, I don't think the podcast has a complete name yet. We're meeting again soon. They just barely signed up for their membership, so now they're onboarding and figuring things out. But it's a men's mental health podcast where it's gonna be like a safe space for men to talk about the stuff that they're struggling with. And
Trevon and me are going on it. We need our safe space.
Yeah, they want us to go on it, which will be fun. And yeah, we'll see. I mean, yeah, we're excited. We got a few different members starting up. We have a different magazine that's only an Anthem starting up here pretty soon. They will be starting up in September. We have Ross that's going to be launching his membership. So we have a lot of memberships launching, which will be really cool because the memberships allow us to have a little bit more control, a little bit more guidance and support along the ways for them. And, with what we believe when it comes to podcasting, the more hands-on we are of helping them, the more we can alleviate all the ups and downs, the trials. Because I think one of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to podcasting that these businesses have is it's actually a lot of work. even though we have all the cameras, all the lighting, we handle the editing for you.
Yep.
It's a lot of work to figure out the concept, to figure out who should we be bringing on, and then that's where our strategy comes in place to help these people kind of really dive into it and figure out. And somebody on Instagram saying audio is delayed, so that's always fun. We're having a fun day with audio and stuff. Audio
Is it really?
it,
Slightly.
it might be slightly delayed over on Instagram.
Hey,
But
no
thank you for
worries.
letting us know. And then once again, we are live. If you guys,
I was gonna say we're not that cute, so you can just listen. You can just listen. It's you don't need to be watching at the same time if you're if it's delayed on your end. But
and then this is, like I said, our first time. Well, not our first time going live. It feels like it. That's for sure. It's been a long time since we've live streamed. But the whole goal of these lives is to. I mean, yeah, we were going to talk about what's going on, but this is a time for you guys to kind of hop in, ask whatever questions you have. So if you guys have a podcast, if you're thinking about starting a podcast, if you've been struggling with the idea of starting a podcast, or you have a podcast and it's not making money for your business, this is the time to throw questions in and kind of ask anything.
I've got some questions for you. Something that I noticed within these new people that have joined membership-wise is that a lot of them have come from previous kind of relationships. Like either they visited the studio before, like for example, Rise Mag, they visited the studio before, or it's been through like visiting through like networking events and things like that. What do you think that you did to be able to nurture those relationships to the point where they would want to become a member with us?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just the consistency of like being there for them.
Mm-hmm.
For us, you know, we always talk about like we don't care if you use us to start a podcast.
Right.
We just want you to start one.
Yeah.
And you know, with Rise Magazine, for example, I mean, they started a podcast with us before they were Rise Magazine. I mean, they were one of our first clients forever ago under a different name, fell away, tried something else, came back, and then now she's kind of found out what she really wants to do, and she's kind of diving in deep. And throughout the years, we've just kind of been there for her. We've offered support, guidance along the way, even when she wasn't spending money in the studio. And I think that's where a lot of people are. Like, I mean, sales and marketing for business is just building relationships and being there. And when you treat things transactionally, like I think a lot of businesses do, especially in our industry, then I feel like you might get a quick sell, but you don't build the long term. And for us, we want that long term relationship. And we're really big on like, look, we're not for everybody. The studio isn't for everybody. Our memberships isn't for everybody. Yep. And if you're not the right fit or it's not the right time, that's okay. But we're still here to offer that guidance and that support along the way.
Yeah.
Bo over on Facebook said, anything that can go wrong when live will go wrong. And yes, that's definitely true. Things go wrong all the time. Luckily, when we go live for our clients, we don't have issues. It's just when we try to do stuff for us.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, we should try.
We should try a voice changer for some reason.
Yeah, like the camera just like likes to do weird stuff for
funny.
us.
Well, something I liked that I've implemented in my own conversations when talking to people, just because like it'll be not like grassroots marketing, but like I'll just end up talking to people and we'll get on a conversation of what people do for work. And it's kind of cool, just the ideology that you've taught me about how we are not for everyone and like that's okay. And so I was explaining that to you know who Brian Dixon is, right? He's an attorney here in town, and he wants to help people when it comes to nonprofits. And I just thought, you know, we've built such rapport and so many different relationships with so many different nonprofits here at the studio to the point where we would be like the best source for him to teach people how to create nonprofits. Like that's his whole goal. And so
I'm getting you more and more out of focus.
You're good. Hey, just put me
and
in
there's
focus.
a delay, and I just keep punching the camera.
Okay, we're maybe we're
There you go. I got you in focus there.
Okay. But I just thought it was cool because like I was able to put that in like outside of like any business relation. Like it wasn't like it was such a natural flowing thing that just because of us being like authentic, that we genuinely do care about clients. He was just like, yeah, that's super cool. I told him we're not for everybody, but he's like, hey, I like you guys so much that I really would want to test out this. I said, we're not the cheapest in town. You know, we're not for everybody. We do things a little differently, X, Y, and Z. But he said, because of the relationships that you've built and the trust, you guys would be my go-to. So it was a cool testament to like see that we've built that personal brand for ourselves.
Well, and it goes back to like our whole philosophy when it comes to podcasting.
Yeah.
Podcasting for us is a relationship building tool, as well as a content engine. Like the content's really important. And I feel like a lot of times we create content so much on like that this content doesn't matter, that even when we use Claude to start like helping me build out stuff, it's like content doesn't matter. I'm like, well, no, it matters. Like this type of content will allow us to reach more people and build relationships online. But when we can leverage podcasting to just give something of value first and really not try to take, right? Like I think there's a misconception with podcasting as well, and leveraging it to meet potential customers, potential partnerships, that like this is still transactional, but it's not. Like the goal is to meet people, see if there's a good fit between us. And if not, that's cool. I'm still going to give you something of value first. And that's where I really got like, I think that passion for podcasting, because we saw it happen for us. It's like we started our podcast and I was bringing people on to kind of get to know them, hopeful that we could do some work together, but not really pushing it. And even without the follow-up, the fact that we were able to just connect, the ones that there was a good relationship there that started to form, they liked us, they trusted us. We gave them something of value first, turned into business later, whether that was through the production company, whether that was through the studio. And really, I mean, we see it. The clients who listen to us and do a good job of it, they crush, they get really good results. And then the clients that don't listen to us, they don't typically see results, which is once again why we're really big on pushing those memberships, because then we get more control and we get more in your face about what you should be doing, shouldn't be doing. Yeah. We help manage the distribution. So that's all you're worried about, is building those relationships.
I want to go back to audio. So, no.
Yeah.
Only slightly. It's
it might just be Instagram too, and sending it over. It's not delayed on like the actual system. So it might just be StreamYard delaying it a little bit, but it is what it is. We're out here hanging out. So Bo asked over on Facebook, what do you feel podcasts can do to help a small business? Do you want to hop into that? I mean, I can talk about that all day, but do you want to try to pop into that and I'll hop in?
Yeah, I mean, it's countless things that we've talked about in other videos or we've preached to clients, but it just is another format of relationship building. And so as a small business, you obviously need to do marketing, right? You need to put yourself out there into the world. And so a podcast is just like a fountain, and there's so many different avenues that you can take from that podcast to put yourself out there, like on social media for content, but at the exact same time you're doing the relationship building of the businesses that you want to work with. And so we've explained that like going viral isn't the end goal with a podcast, right? You have that relationship as your end goal. You bring in the client that you've been wanting to do business with for however long. You bring in the adjacent partner that could help your business, rocket launch in whatever trajectory you want to go. And so with that relationship being built and you guys having an hour, 45 minutes, whatever it may be, of just chatting back and forth and being able to get to know each other and see if you're an actual fit, like somewhat of a date on it, you're able to, build that relationship and that network. And then at the exact same time with the content aspect of it, you're able to cut that podcast up into mini clips, and you're able to put that onto your social medias, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And then you have the long form as well. But like that's just two of like the countless ways that Trevon has taught me. He's got more ideas than there are ideas about when it comes to podcasting. So I'll hand it back to him because he's the pro. But
yeah, I mean, I think podcasting for small businesses is your best bang for buck. It's the thing that I've seen bring the biggest results for really any business, not just small businesses. But if we look at like Josie, for example, right? She's a small business, just like us, very similar size. And she's tried ads. She's tried networking events. She's constantly looking for ways of how do I bring in more revenue? How do I get more clients? She's filmed 3 podcast episodes and closed 3 new clients. And she hasn't even dropped those episodes yet. Right. So she leveraged this as a tool to have conversations with people that would be a good fit for her. And because the episode went well, it built a relationship with them and they closed very quickly after that. So for her, right, that was the best bang for buck she's ever spent. And then you look at, I mean, we can use us as an example, right? We podcast and we're trying to be better about our podcast and taking it a little bit more seriously. We have a couple different podcasts that we do. And even for us, like, you know, we spend money on ads, we spend money doing marketing, being at events, trying to meet people. And a lot of it feels like such a giant waste that when it comes to podcasting, in my own experience, it's been our best bang for buck. You know, we've shot episodes that I wasn't even trying to get the person as a client. It was just to like meet somebody, build a relationship with. And then it brought in $10,000. It brought in $15,000. I mean, our best result was in a podcast episode with only 30 views at the time. We brought in $45,000 in revenue. And when you're a small business, that's a lot of money. Then it turned into a membership in the studio. We actually referred out to somebody as well, about $3K a month or $3,500 a month. And so I honestly think that if you're a small business, you need to have a podcast depending on what your business is. And it is the best use of the resources you have. In fact, really, we're spending all of our time now focused on a podcast. We're not going to spend any more money really on ads, or we host events, so it's a little bit different, but like we're really not attending things. Like podcasting is our networking, and it really has turns into stuff. So, you know, Bo said over on Facebook, you know, I found multiple people watched mine when we did it at your studio, and I want to do it again soon. You know, and Bo's a good example of that, right? Like I saw Bo, we've kind of seen each other in passing at hockey. Both of our kids play hockey. He runs a marketing company. And I was like, hey, I want to meet this guy and see what he's up to. So let's bring him on, right? And ever since I've had him on, we've had a relationship. I see him at hockey. We talk way more. He's constantly asking me now, hey, I have a client. Would this be a good fit for you? He's looking for opportunities to help us because we did something to help him first, and none of it's transactional, you know? And if it would have been, he showed up in the studio and be like, oh, I hate these guys, then cool. Like we'd probably move on our way. He'd get something out of it. It wasn't a waste of his time. But because there is a good fit there, he's looking for opportunities for us as well.
Yeah. Going back to that, I just want to talk about kind of like a genuine authenticity that happens during a podcast and like the relationships you build in the moment. What do you think, going back to Rise Mag, what do you think was the determining factor as to why that podcast went so well for both the people in the room and then the business as a whole between the two businesses? What do you think went so well between that?
Yeah. Podcast is an interesting format for businesses because there's value in it for me as a host and for the guests that I bring on, right? So they brought on a water company, and the water company first, they come to the studio, they're pumped because it's a professional setting. It's really cool. I mean, our studio does look very nice. People are always excited to come here, especially if they've been in other studios. We hear constantly that we're one of the best studios that they've ever been in. And so there's that experience that comes with inviting your guest on. Then they come on the show and they get an opportunity to talk about themselves. They get an opportunity to really showcase who they are. And you're giving them that opportunity, which is so valuable as a business, right? Like, we all, as business owners, we're looking for a platform to be able to share our story, to be able to share how we can help people. And they gave that business that platform, right? So they feel very grateful for the opportunity, even though they have not, they don't have a huge following. Although they dropped the episode, it's one of the first episodes to drop on YouTube. They only have 6 subs, and they had 60 views within
Okay.
like the first hour or two, which I was like, dang, that's crazy. Because normally you're not getting many views on YouTube, but they have a good online following already, and they have their magazine, they have their people that are dropping it to. And so the value that they got out of that, right? And then once again, you dive in deeper, you're asking deep questions, depending on what your podcast is about. And they really feel like you care, like you want to get to know them, that you want to support them. And that just opens up the door. I mean, the water company was pumped after this. And I'm hoping that Jen closes them as a client. Yep. She's going to let me know. And I mean, she even said, like, you know, we brought them on this podcast to build that relationship with them. We're trying to close them as a client. We know there's value in this for them. Great. And if there's value in it for them and we're giving it to them, they're going to like us a little bit more.
How then, if kind of, if you go in with that like attitude and like that mentality of having a closing of a deal, and it's kind of like behind closed doors, you have that thought, how do you think that podcasting changes that perspective and like doesn't make you sound so salesy and like just trying to like pressure you? Like what do you think this format does to that deal?
Yeah, I think, and we try to be very clear with our clients when we give them like onboarding instructions and like kind of their podcast strategy overview of being like, look, yes, this is a tool designed to build relationships that can turn into clients, that can turn into partnerships, but we can't walk into the episode wanting to try to close this person, right? Like if we walk into an episode with the sole intention of, I brought you in here to try to get you to become a client, it's going to ruin the genuineness of the show. And your guest is going to feel it. Your guest is going to feel like, oh, you came on here to pitch me, right? We want the show designed in a way that's like, I want to give you a platform to share your voice. I want to give you a platform to create content. I want to give you an opportunity to build value for your business. And yes, there might be some synergy here that allows us to talk a little bit about what we do. But if we're so focused on, I'm trying to close this, then I think it's a negative perspective. Now, that is kind of the goal, right? Like when we have the perspective of this is a relationship engine, not so much a content engine, it allows us to then start thinking about the guests that we bring on differently, right? We don't want to just bring on anybody to the show, because if they don't bring value to our audience, because at the same time, we're building relationships online with the people watching the content as well. Like that's a really big part of it. Like we're not just creating content, we're speaking to individuals that we can help. And the more we can resonate with them and bring them value, the more likely they are to eventually become clients of ours. So we don't want to bring just anybody on. Don't just bring your friend on, right? There needs to be a purpose of why we're bringing this person on. And hopefully that kind of answered that question.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely answered my question. If you guys have any questions on the live stream, let us know. Bo also said, it has helped my business and I want it to help others. Awesome, Bo. Thank you so much for commenting that and mentioning that.
Yeah. Well, I'll just say, like, we are live, guys. Like, this is once again, we're going to be talking about certain things here, but this is an opportunity for you guys to throw in questions in the chat, whether you're on Instagram, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube. We can see your questions if they come in. So throw in some questions. If you're struggling with, like, how do I even start a podcast for my business, or what should I even talk about? Really, anyway. I mean, one question we get asked often is like, how do I make money from podcasting? And a reframe, or I guess like a branding marketing message that we're focusing on, a small change is like pushing, like, we focus on dollars, not downloads for your podcast. So that's really our main objective, is like, how do we help you get revenue, get dollars from your podcast, and not focus so much on how many downloads? Now, I always say that though, and it seems like we don't want you to get any views. Like, we aren't anti-views. We're anti-views for the virality. We're anti-going viral. And if you guys follow our Instagram page, you'll see a clip of us freaking out about, or me freaking out about going viral soon. You know, we're not anti-views. We just want the right views. And we aren't so preoccupied with how do we get you the most amount of views. We want to get you the qualified views, only the people that will potentially become customers, which once again is how anytime I mention like, oh, we had an episode only do 30 views, yet we've brought in over $45,000 in revenue from it. People are like, wait, how? That's not possible. But it is when you have the right views.
Sorry, I was reading the comments.
Yeah.
As you were.
So we got Kelly in here, which when we have a teenage hockey podcast come to your studio, like maybe the main host could be a goalie. We actually did try having Harrison start a podcast, and he was just not good at it. Like, yeah, I think if he practiced more, he'd be good at it, but he's just focused on playing. And I don't know, I think it'd be cool for him to start a podcast just because of relationships, the people you can meet. Like, we had people lined up in different states that like were pumped and like, oh, hey, once I come on, let me connect you to so-and-so. And so, I mean, even for him, I told him like with the podcast, it's not about getting views for you or like really building a show. For you, it's like, this is a networking tool. And even though you're only 13, now he's 14, if you bring this coach on and it introduces you to this coach, introduces you to that coach, and you're building this network of coaches that like you, because you brought them on a show, it's going to open up doors for your career in hockey. But yeah, he did one episode, and then I was really big on like if he doesn't pursue it, I'm not going to push him to do it.
Yeah. Well, and for us, we can talk less about clients and a little bit more about us, I guess. What is something kind of new that we're trying to implement relationship wise here in the studio? Are you planning any events? Are you planning anything new for I don't know, just for our own personal growth?
Yeah, I mean, well, we are partnering with the eWomen's network. Super excited to start with them. We have an event in 2 weeks with them for their vendors for a different event they have going on, and then we are going to be hosting a monthly event for them where it's only for their members. They're going to be creating content here. We're going to have special guest speakers. You know, we're partnering with it, but they are the ones definitely leading that one. And then we're going to sit down and actually start doing our monthly events. There's two main ones I want us to start doing. One, which is just like a general mixer networking night, and then one that's more focused on education, and start that up. Working on starting up our online community, starting some things in the back end there, but really focus on just rebuilding our website, getting a few things in place. One thing I want to do soon, which I think would be really cool, I don't know if I mentioned it to you yet.
Maybe.
But I think it'll be really fun for us to, like, I don't know, go out to Joshua Tree, go out to Duck Creek for like a weekend or a few days in the weekday and do like a retreat where we focus on like, hey, how do we improve the business? How do we improve our customer experience? But then also go out and have fun, go travel, go, you know, rent ATVs or whatever.
Boys trip.
Yeah. But like kind of bring, you know, I guess bring Andrew, bring whoever, you know, Malia would come, and then kind of just get away from the studio, but like kind of like retreat, refocus, and kind of figure out how do we create a better experience for our clients in the studio. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah, of course. I'm always down for a little hike, little trip with Trevon. I'm always always down for it.
But yeah, so if you guys are on Instagram, if you're on Facebook watching this, let me know what questions you guys have about podcasting, specifically for your business.
I guess I can join too.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Tanner. Kelly wrote, he can have somebody join who knows who's on a golf team and also a teenager. So it might be my sister. Actually, her kids are probably in school, I don't know, 3 hours ahead. It might be her son that's in there in the chat. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of really what we have coming up. Focus on getting some of our new clients started and launching a few new people. Like I said, we have Rise who's starting. That'll be exciting. They're going to be doing 8 episodes a month, 2 different podcasts, 4 episodes each one. They actually already have sponsors, she said, for one of them, but they need a few episodes first to show the sponsors, and then they're going to start sponsoring. So that's cool because she'll have one of the podcasts taken care of for her. Mm-hmm. And then we have the Anthem magazine that will be starting. They're going to do 1 episode a month. And that's the thing, too. Like, the guy almost was, like, apologizing that he was only going to do 1 a month. But I was like, look, we don't want you to, even though we believe wholeheartedly in this, and I think that he'll be able to generate revenue if he listens to us pretty quickly to cover the costs. I don't want you stretching yourself thin over this. It's incredibly stressful enough to be a small business owner that like to stretch yourself thin on signing up for something that maybe you can't really afford and you're hoping is a miracle. And I want to be clear about this. Like, this isn't a miracle solution. There's a lot of work that goes into podcasting. It isn't just this magic solution that like, oh, I started this, now we're crushing it. Do clients get some insane results? Like, yeah, we had a client who's tripled in revenue in 6 months of filming here in the studio. You know, we had another client who also tripled in revenue after a year of podcasting. You know, like, it works and we see results happen quickly, but it also, there's so much work on the back end. You have to build relationships with people. You know, if you're not likable, if you're not good at sales, if you're not good at following up with people, like me, it still works, but it won't work as well. And so, we just don't want you to stretch thin. And I'm excited for him to start.
How much time do you think a business owner has to put in when it's him or his team doing it kind of by themselves without a studio? And then what do you think the time frame looks like when a studio like us is involved?
Oh, without a studio, it's going to take you so long, right? Like, even if you have somebody on your team that understands video, it might be a little bit easier. But you have to, like, on what we alleviate when it comes to just a standard session, right? We already have the lighting dialed in, so you're going to look good. We already have the camera set up. We're already running the software. We're already running the editing. And so all you have to worry about when you show up is having a conversation. I've had so many people come to the studio. They're like, oh, we tried doing this on our own and we had an amazing conversation, but nobody pushed record. Right.
Or we forgot to record audio. Or
or we
whatever.
forgot to do this, you know, and we see it ourselves. Like when we try to do these streams, right? Or like I try to do stuff alone in the studio. It doesn't go well. Like having a team to support you really makes things a lot easier. That being said, I had a marketing company come in the other day and we should be starting a podcast with them, hopefully within the next few months. But they came in and he was like, oh, cool. So it sounds like you guys take over everything. I was like, well, look, honestly, if you don't have someone on your team to handle the booking part of guests, it's a lot. Like if you're doing 4 a month, it's a lot of work to go out there and find a guest and to book them and to schedule them. Like it's honestly a lot. It's the biggest reason why we keep failing at our podcast, because it lies on me to go out and find guests and to do these things. And as an owner, we're just so busy with everything else that if I don't have somebody whose main priority is this, it's not going to last. And so I told him, I was like, look, if you're going to try to do this yourself, it's not going to last. He has a decent sized company. So I was like, you need to give your assistant the task of this. If you give your assistant the task of this, the podcast for you is going to be really easy because we're going to provide you with this, provide you with that. We're handling all these things. She handles the guest booking part. Then you're really just showing up and having conversations. And even with him, the goal is to barely even have him on it. We really want his team on the show and have him on it as little as possible.
Yeah. Why do you think you'd rather have his team on it rather than him?
Yeah. So I don't think everybody should be the face of the podcast. I would love, even for the studio, eventually for me not to be this. I'd rather just have you on here, somebody else with you doing it. Like, I don't want to be part of it. He's not concerned with building his personal brand. He doesn't care about going, look at me. And a lot of founders want that. So a founder who's concerned about building their personal brand, they should be the face of the podcast. But if you're a big enough company where you have employees and maybe some of them are better on camera, it might be better to hand that task to them because he just doesn't want to be on camera at all. And so if you don't want to be on camera and you're not concerned about building your personal brand and you don't want the branding of the company to be wrapped around you as a founder, then you should be bringing your employees on the show. We've had some clients bring in outside talent to be on the show. I don't love that idea. I think it should be an employee. But you don't have to be the one that's on camera. You know, I mean, Jen's a good example of that from Rise Magazine. She doesn't want to be on camera. We've pushed her to do it, right? And I think she should be, but she doesn't want to. So now she's partnering with other people and developing different shows so she can build the brand of the company, but she doesn't have to be the face of it. And it's going to work well for her. But then other people, once again, like some founders just care a lot more about being the face, about building that personal brand. For me personally, like once again, the sooner we can get me off of this stuff, the better. I don't mind doing it. And I think that's the nice thing about podcasting is even if you hate being on camera, podcasting is a form of content creation that isn't miserable to do because you're just having conversations with people and conversations you would likely be having, right? Like if we were having a team meeting, we'd have similar conversations to what we're having right now. We're just leveraging this as a platform to document it, hopefully pull out at least a couple clips where we sound somewhat smart or likable or something that's relatable to our audience.
Yeah.
So,
what do you think a small business owner would want to hear if their business is quote unquote boring? Like, what do you think would be their driving factor as to why they should start a podcast?
I like that. I think all boring businesses need a podcast.
Yeah.
And you don't create a podcast for a show to entertain people. Once again, we're using this as a tool for connection. That's actual in-person human connection with the guests we're bringing on, but it's also through the content you're creating. You don't need to be incredibly entertaining to start a podcast or be a host of a podcast. And in fact, if you are boring, I want you to lean into that because we don't want you to pretend to be someone you're not, because we're trying to connect with people online and they're going to either like you or not like you. They're going to respect what you say or don't respect what you say. They're either going to be really good potential customers or they're not. And so by you being more yourself and having really boring conversations, and I guess one point about boring conversations is the conversation's only boring if it's not relevant to you.
Right. Well, that also goes back to the fact that here you're talking about like how just because you're the owner of the company and you're shy, you don't want to be on camera, et cetera. Like you don't need to be on the podcast if like you're not passionate about that type of conversation with that owner. But if you have an employee who is an expert in whatever field they're talking about, whether it be marketing for your campaign or your company, then like that passion is just exudes throughout the entire format of the podcast.
Yeah, we had a conversation not too long ago with someone, or maybe it was one of our clients that had a conversation. I don't know, because
eavesdropping on somebody.
Yeah, maybe. But one of the questions was like, or the thought behind it was, you need genuine curiosity to be a podcast host.
Yeah.
That genuine curiosity is to actually care about your guest's story, to have some sort of interest about what they bring to the table. How did they build their business? I've created a podcast in the past where it was literally just a fluff piece. It was like, let's get people in here, let's make them feel good about themselves, and let's try to do sales. And it felt that way, right? We weren't building a following, we weren't growing our channel, we weren't connecting with people online. So then I had to figure out, okay, well, how can I achieve what I want to achieve, which is meet more businesses in Vegas, but have conversations I actually care about? That's where then we started focusing more on, well, let's talk about their story, the failures, the hardships, and how did they get through it so I can actually learn. So now it's more of a podcast where I'm just learning. I get to bring on business owners that have done it and go, how did you do it? And I'm actually struggling with this right now. What did you do when you were in this situation? We just brought on a guy, who owns a live print shop in town, and, having a conversation with him about building a team and the mistakes he made, where we're right in the same spot that he was talking about. And I'm like, yeah, this is where we are. Like, I need to hire people to help us grow, but we're in this weird space. We need more revenue. But if we don't hire people, we aren't going to be able to grow. And he talked about how he went through it, and I was able to take away from that and learn. So I have a genuine curiosity of talking to him. And so, yeah, and just kind of reiterating that boring point, right? Like the podcast is only boring to the people that's not relevant to. And so we want your podcast to be boring because you're offering a service. And we don't want you to attract a ton of people and be super entertaining and not close deals. We want to focus a lot more on dollars versus downloads. And we do that by having you create a boring podcast, boring to the people that's not relevant to. And the more relevant it is to that person, the more interesting it is to that person. I mean, this podcast is incredibly boring.
Well, yeah, I was about to say
literally everybody in the world, except for somebody who's like,
I want to start a podcast.
I need to start a podcast for my business and I'm struggling. I don't know how. Like nobody, like we're never going to be famous. We're never going to be like known on YouTube, right? We're never going to have millions of subs talking about this stuff, but we don't need that. We need to be able to connect with the people who are our potential customers, build a relationship with them, build trust with them, offer them solutions and help them, right? The more we can help someone, the better, because well, one, we're making a difference in the world, but then two, we're building that trust with them. We're showing up with them. We're giving them something of value. And eventually when they're ready, if it's the right fit, they will become a customer.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. I was also thinking kind of how it doesn't matter like rain or shine. Usually with these live streams, like at least one person will reach out afterwards and be like, that was super awesome. I'm super glad I listened in on that. And because me and you just think we're shooting the breeze and just, you know, kind of just rambling on about our ideas and our work here. But it is super cool to like know that as boring as this may seem from like this point of view, that someone else listening to us like actually pulls value from it. And like that's like sweeping across all industries, whether it be podcasting, whether it be like we have an HVAC podcast here. That doesn't sound all too thrilling, but like they've been able to get clients and business from it that have been able to just domino effect when it comes to relationships. And now everybody knows that QTC is, you know, the golden standard here in Vegas. And like we've been able to help them just slingshot themselves into that spotlight. It's been super rewarding both on, you know, our part and their part to see like their growth. But
well, and I think it's something like people, because of social media, people are so warped on numbers, right? These vanity metrics that are numbers, views, counts, downloads, and they're so focused on that and they view that as success. When we sit down with a client, we try to really explain that that doesn't determine success. Quality Training Center started a podcast, and on their first episode with less than 20 views, they had somebody come to the school because of it.
Yep.
Right. And it's not an interesting podcast. Like if you don't want to get into the trades, this is going to be the most boring podcast you ever listen to, because it's about getting into the trades. But the people who live in Vegas, who want to get into the trades, find this, they're building trust with them. And Aaron says all the time, kids come for tours, you know, families come for tours, and they're like, oh, hey, I know you. I see you on Instagram. I saw you on the YouTube. I saw you on the podcast. Right. Like, oh, you're funny, or this or that. Or like, hey, when you said that or you shared that story, that really connected with me. So they see the effects in real time. And I've seen it too. Like, I mean, I never wanted to create content about this stuff. I think this stuff is boring, even though I know the value behind it. But I'm early on of doing the live streaming, putting out, you know, this educational content. We saw results. We saw people come to me, you know, it's one individual that says, hey, when you said this, it changed my entire perspective. It opened up doors for me. It caused me to think about things differently. And when we go back to the mindset that we have, which is people over views, then you're creating content for an individual. When you create content to change one individual's life, you're going to make a difference. You're going to generate leads for your business. You'll never get famous, but you will see dollars come in when you're not focused on the downloads. You will see revenue come in for the business because you focus on them. As humans, all we care about is feeling seen, feeling heard. We want to feel like we're understood. So when we create content for a very specific individual and they find that content, they're going to feel like they understand me. They know what I'm going through. They know what I'm struggling, and they care. And that's what translates people from online lookers to purchasing with you, to becoming a client with you, to consulting with you. But
what do you think? Well, okay. With all that being said, what is one thing that a business owner or an entrepreneur looking to start a podcast should do to get that right person in the room rather than overvaluing their reach and virality? What do you think somebody could do?
I think the first step to starting a podcast and getting real results, generating revenue, driving business to your business is going to be understanding why we're doing this. We need to sit down and understand who is our audience. What do they need from us? Your audience is going to be your potential customer. Mm-hmm. And the purpose of the show is to bring in business. So we need to create a show for our potential customers. And that show, typically when it's aligned properly, allows you to bring on potential customers, potential referral partners. And so if we don't have the goal in place and have the right perspective from the start, then we're just creating to create. And if we create to create, not only are we not going to get views, we're also not going to get results. I don't care about not getting views if I'm getting results for the business. You know, we create funny content and it feels good to get a lot of comments and get more views and more likes, more shares than when we normally get, right? We just posted some content and it was really funny. And, you know, I ran into somebody today who's like, dude, I've been loving the content. It's awesome, right? There's comments on it. And then I post an educational piece and crickets. Yeah. But there's 4 likes. Nobody's watching it. And the fun content is fun to do. It feels good to get that recognition, feels good to get that interaction. But I already know that the content we're putting out there that's boring and that nobody's liking, nobody's sharing, is the one that's going to get somebody in the studio and actually get them to spend money with us. It's the one that's going to get them to change their perspective and hopefully change everything for their business, especially as a small business. If we can help change the perspective of one small business, help them start a podcast even on their own, not in the studio, and they can triple in revenue like we've seen clients do, then we've made a difference in the world. We've helped a family. We've helped people get employment. We've changed the life of our economy and our community.
Beautiful. Whoa, we're going for world peace next.
Yep. What's up, Stephanie?
Yeah, I was going to say, she's in here in the chat, and I'm sure she could attest to a little bit of what we've been talking about for the past 50 minutes or so. But yeah, sorry.
I was going to say, I think we're going to be wrapping up. Stephanie, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, complaints about Gabe, not about me, throw them in the chat. We're here to answer anything. If you're watching this after it's been recorded, make sure you guys put comments on YouTube. DM us on Instagram. We're here to really just provide support and help. We're going to try to do this weekly. We're going to try out different times. We're going to try later at night. We're going to try earlier in the morning. See what time seems to resonate the best with people. I know really it's about the content afterwards, so we're trying to be better so that way it can actually live on YouTube afterwards. And today was a great start to that. But you know, the goal of at least the studio confessions and the actual podcast that we'll be having is to bring value to you guys, to answer your questions. So submit questions, ask us anything. We don't gatekeep anything. And I don't know. I never cared about podcasting, even though we opened the studio, until I saw the results that it was bringing us and clients. And then I was like, this really can change lives. Like if you're a big business, it can help you bring even more business. It can help you help more people. Most of us got into the business to help people. And a podcast can help you do more of that when you do it right.
The haters.
How many books are you sitting on to get to Gabe's level? We already got haters in the comment.
That's how you knew you're doing something right.
Yeah. That's a whole conversation for a different day, but I appreciate you guys being in the live. Any final thoughts, Gabe?
No. I'm just excited to keep at it with you and do this weekly, and make sure to tune in and follow us on all the platforms. Like go over to YouTube and look for this video once we have it posted and all set up for you guys. So we will catch you on the next one.
All right. Now we'll have our awkward leaving as Akira goes to push end stream. Bye.